त्वमेव सर्वं खल्विदं ब्रह्मासि त्वं साक्षादात्मासि नित्यं ऋतं वच्मि सत्यं वच्मि अवत्वं माम् अववक्तारम् अवश्रोतारम् अवदातारम् अवधातारम् अवानोचानमवशिष्यम् अवपश्चात्तात् अवपुरस्तात् अवोत्तरात्तात् अवदक्षिणात्तात् अवचोर्ध्वात्तात् अवाधरात्तात् सर्वतो मां पाहि पाहि समन्तात् त्वं वाङ्मयस्त्वं चिन्मयः त्वमानन्दमयस्त्वं ब्रह्ममयः त्वं सच्चिदानन्दाद्वितीयोऽसि त्वं प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वं ज्ञानमयो विज्ञानमयोऽसि सर्वं जगदिदं त्वत्तो जायते सर्वं जगदिदं त्वत्तस्तिष्ठति सर्वं जगदिदं त्वयि लयमेष्यति सर्वं जगदिदं त्वयि प्रत्येति त्वं भूमिरापो नलो निलो नभः त्वं चत्वारि वाक्पदानि त्वं गुणत्रयातीतः त्वम् अवस्थात्रयातीतः त्वं देहत्रयातीतः त्वं कालत्रयातीतः त्वं मूलाधारस्थितोऽसि नित्यं त्वं शक्तित्रयात्मकः त्वां योगिनो ध्यायन्ति नित्यं त्वं ब्रह्मा त्वं विष्णुस्त्वं रुद्रस्त्वमिन्द्रस्त्वमग्निस्त्वं वायुस्त्वं सूर्यस्त्वं चन्द्रमास्त्वं ब्रह्म भूर्भुवस्वरो गणादीं पूर्वमुच्चार्य वर्णादीं तदनन्तरम् अनुस्वारः परतरः अर्धेन्दुलसितं तारेण रुद्धम् एतत्तव मनुस्वरूपं गकारः पूर्वरूपम् अकारो मध्यमरूपम् अनुस्वारश्चान्त्यरूपं बिन्दुरुत्तररूपं नादः सन्धानं सगंहिता सन्धिः सैषा गणेशविद्या गणकर्षिः निचिद्गायत्रे छन्दः गणपतिर्देवता ॐ गं गणपतये नमः एकदन्ताय विद्महे वक्रतुण्डाय धीमहि.
Kindly be seated, ladies and gentlemen. Namaskar, good afternoon and swagatam. It is my privilege to welcome everyone present here to the 11th Convocation ceremony at IMT Nagpur, a beautiful auspicious beginning with the rains and the showers beckoning us. I now request Dr. Subhajit Bhattacharya, Director of IMT Nagpur, to welcome our distinguished chief guest, Mr. Rana Kapoor, Managing Director and CEO of Yes Bank, with a floral bouquet. Very warm welcome to you, sir. I now request Dr. Subhajit Bhattacharya to kindly welcome Mr. Kamal Nath, President of the Governing Council of IMT Nagpur, with a floral bouquet, please. On behalf of the Director and all of us, may I request the President, Governing Council, Mr. Kamal Nath, to kindly preside over the function. I now request Mr. Kamal Nath to formally announce the opening of the convocation, please.
I declare the convocation open.
Thank you very much, sir. I now request our chief guest, Mr. Rana Kapoor and Mr. Kamal Nath, to kindly light our beautiful traditional lamp to mark the auspicious beginning of the convocation, please. I'd like to invite Harshit Arora, Rohit Khanna, Pranjal Srivastav, Kumari Rashmi, Vishakha Sarkar, students of IMT Nagpur, for rendering the Deepak Mantra, please.
Shubham karutvam kalyanam arogyam dhana sampadah. Shubham karutvam kalyanam arogyam dhana sampadah. Shatru buddhi vinashaya deepah jyotir namostute. Deepah jyotir namostute.
Thank you very much, distinguished gentlemen, for beautifully lighting our traditional lamp and formally inaugurating the convocation. As is customary and auspicious, we begin the proceedings of the convocation with the rendering of the Saraswati Vandana, where we invoke Goddess Saraswati, the goddess of learning and knowledge, to bless and guide us for the success of what we're about to undertake. I'd like to request the student volunteers to render the Saraswati Vandana, please. Thank you very much, students, for beautifully rendering the Saraswati Vandana. Ladies and gentlemen, the souvenir titled Convocation 2016 has been published to commemorate this wonderful and auspicious occasion. It is my privilege to request our chief guest, Mr. Rana Kapoor, to formally release the souvenir on this occasion, please. I now request our chief guest, Mr. Rana Kapoor, to kindly release the special convocation edition of the in-house magazine of IMT Nagpur, and it has been titled Opus. Thank you very much, chief guest. I now have the privilege to introduce Dr. Shubhajit Bhattacharya, Director of IMT Nagpur, and he assumed the office of Director at the Institute of Management Technology in August 2015. Dr. Bhattacharya has over 20 years of experience in industry and academia, out of which for over 13 years he's been associated with the IMT group of institutions. As a professor with the Institute of Management Technology, Ghaziabad, he's taken up many responsibilities, including admissions chair, program chair, and officiating dean academics at various points of time. Over the years, he's contributed significantly in augmenting the academics and streamlining the academic processes at IMT Ghaziabad, IMT CDL, and IMT Nagpur. Dr. Bhattacharya has received his PhD degree in economics from the Indira Gandhi Institute of Development Research, Mumbai, a deemed university set up by the Reserve Bank of India and one of the leading research institutions in the country. He was a rank holder in the university at both the undergraduate and the graduate levels. Prior to joining IMT for over 5 years, he was involved with industry in mediating industry-government dialogue for policy prescriptions on various economic and business issues in his capacity as Deputy Director of Bombay Chamber of Commerce and Industry. I now have the privilege in inviting Dr. XIth Bhattacharya, Director of IMT Nagpur, to kindly present the annual report for 2015-2016, please.
Mr. Kamalnath, President, Governing Council, IMT. Mr. Rana Kapoor, Founder, Managing Director and CEO, Yes Bank. Mr. Bakulnath, Vice President, Center for Advanced Education, distinguished guests, parents, my faculty and staff colleagues, my dear students, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome all of you to this 11th convocation of IMT Nagpur. I am grateful to both Mr. Kamalnath and Mr. Rana Kapoor to have kindly agreed to share their valuable time with us today. Your presence today, sirs, will enormously motivate faculty, staff and students at IMT Nagpur. After a decade of its promising existence, Institute of Management Technology Nagpur is presently at a crossroad. The question is whether it should blind walk the path followed by regular business schools, or should it walk off the beaten path and create a niche for itself. Lot many ideas are churning out of the minds of its students, faculty and management. Discussions at IMT Nagpur are centered on this topic. Notwithstanding this discussion and debate, IMT Nagpur has shown remarkable improvements during the last 1 year in terms of academic rigor and industry orientation, research, curricular and extracurricular student activities, recognition, placements, etc. More fundamentally, there is an environment of exuberance. This ebullience will have to be channelized in the right direction to ensure that the institute takes a big leap forward. Owing to a paucity of time, I attempt to present a very brief report of the activities and achievements of IMT Nagpur over the last 1 year. In its very first attempt, IMT Nagpur has been awarded 5 years accreditation by National Board of Accreditation, the highest given by the Government of India Board to any B school in India, and very rarely given at the very first attempt. IMT Nagpur has been recognized as one of amongst the promising B schools in India. It received the following rankings of B schools. Business Standard ranks IMT Nagpur in A1, that is top 20 B schools, for third consecutive year. GHRDC ranked IMT Nagpur as 10th in B School of Super Excellence and among top 20 private B schools in India. IMT Nagpur has an excellent combination of faculty from both career academicians and practitioners, a combination that allows the academics in the institute to be closely focused on the skill need of industry. Collaborative curriculum development and teaching by such a faculty body enables students to have a flavor of both academic rigor and practicalities of business. During the last 1 year, 4 new faculty members have joined IMT Nagpur, adding to its intellectual capital. Several faculty members have received prestigious awards in case writing, teaching, and research at national and international level. One of the most important responsibilities of B School is to understand the need of the industry in terms of managerial skills and accordingly update, revamp, and redesign their program curricula. IMT Nagpur does that continuously and scrupulously. Curricular activities remain incomplete if students are not allowed opportunities to see the application potential of theories and concepts they learn in classroom. Corporate experts were invited to take sessions on various topics. They included, to name a very few of them, Dr. Subir Kumar Ghosh, Head HR Suzuki Motorcycle India Private Limited, Mr. Rakesh Seth, Senior VP Group HR Lloyd Group, Mr. Balu Pandian, Chairman Brookfield Foundation Bangalore, Mr. Rajiv Khosla, Managing Director Lumileds, Mr. Joseph Job, Group Business Director IMRB International, and we have a long list. Beginning this year, IMT Nagpur has planned to commemorate birth anniversary of Shri Mahendranath, founder of the IMT Group of Institutions, every year through Shri Mahendranath Memorial Lecture. Eminent educationists, policymakers, corporate leaders will be invited to deliver this lecture. This year, on 11 September 2015, Padma Bhushan Dr. Kirit S. Parikh, a renowned educationist and policy advisor to Government of India and other multilateral government agencies, delivered the inaugural Shri Mahendranath Memorial Lecture in an eloquent address on a topic of low carbon growth strategies and policies. On this occasion, the institute conferred merit cum means scholarship of ₹1 lakh each to 8 students, and comparable amounts as merit scholarships to students for their academic excellence in different areas of studies. As for research activities, IMT faculty published more than 27 research papers and cases in current academic year. These include journals of international repute from A and B category, IV cases, the case center. Many faculty members presented their research work at international conferences held at UK, Australia, UAE, Japan, Netherlands, USA, etc. The visits were fully sponsored by IMT Nagpur. IMT Nagpur conducted the following conferences and workshops. AICT sponsored workshop on research methodology for management teachers held in March 2015. Fourth International Conference on Sustainability and Management Strategy held in September 2015. Seventh International Conference on IT and Business Intelligence held January 2016. Each of these events attracted sizable participation from academicians of peer institutions. Over the decade, IMT Nagpur has collaborated with 27 universities across Asia, Australia, Europe, America for students and faculty exchange, as also for research collaboration. Presently, the activities on international relations are centralized at the IMT group level. Students of IMT Nagpur participated in a number of competitions and extracurricular activities organized by other peer institutes. In the year gone by, they have won prizes in various events held at IIM Indore, IIM Kozhikode, XISS Ranchi, and other institutions. A team of 3 students from IMTN also won the second position in the business plan competition held at IIM Shillong. IMT Nagpur has conducted various inter-college events this year. Most notable are Model United Nations, an event, an academic simulation of the United Nations that aims to educate participants about current events, topics in international relations, diplomacy, and the United Nations agenda. The participants play roles of diplomats representing different nations in a simulated session of Committee of United Nations, such as the Security Council or the General Assembly. Milestone 35, it is a national level inter-college cultural fest. Drishtikon, a CXO conclave organized for the first time at IMT Nagpur, witnessed senior corporate guests from various walks of the business world enlightening the students managers on different topics. This year, the speakers were Sandhya Vasudevan, MD and CEO Deutsche Bank India, Manish Agarwal, Senior VP Kotak Mahindra Bank, Ashish P. Somaya, CEO Motilal Oswal Asset Management Company, and Vishwajit Chakraborty, COO Willis. The students of IMT Nagpur organized a national level management fest titled Concord through a collaboration of its 6 academic forums, namely Marquee, the Marketing Forum, Cyclops, the Operations Forum, Finaholics, the Finance Forum, Explore, the HR Forum, Okonomos, the Economic Forum, and Strategity, the IT Forum. The students organized TEDx IMTN, an independently organized TED Talk event on January 31st, 2016. The theme for TEDx IMTN was Decoding Mirages. The event saw celebrated speakers and achievers from different fields sharing their views, experiences, and ideas related to the theme. Placement achievement over the past year was commendable. The unflinching teamwork resulted in the visit of more than 70 companies on campus so far for this year's placement season, with some more scheduled to visit in the coming days. Amazon India, Tata Consultancy Services, HDFC Bank, Aditya Birla Retail, ICICI Lombard were among the biggest recruiters on campus. Regular recruiters included Verity Knowledge Solutions, Wipro, ICICI Bank, Philips, Nielsen, Eveready Industries, State Bank of India. New recruiters at IMT Nagpur this year included XIth Life Insurance, Amazon India, Eureka Forbes, Capgemini, Crisil, Deloitte, Hafele India, Total Oil, Idea Cellular, and Tech Mahindra. So far, 236 offers have been made to the students of IMT Nagpur. The highest package offered this year is 15.5 lakhs per annum, vis-a-vis 11 lakhs last year, and the average package is 7 lakh per annum, vis-a-vis 6 lakhs last year. We are confident to register 100% placement this year. IMT Nagpur conducted several well-received residential and non-residential management development programs this year in the public as well as in the private sector. The client list includes the Inshaw's, Asian Paints, Moil, Geological Survey of India, and Solar Industries, amongst others. Kushagra, the entrepreneurship cell of IMT Nagpur, aims at inculcating entrepreneurial skills in student managers. This year, Kushagra organized Pantheon, the annual entrepreneurship summit of IMT Nagpur that provides the budding entrepreneurs a platform to display their creativity in the field of business. And Voyage 2016, a startup fair that witnessed various startup founders visiting the campus to interact with the students and encourage them in entrepreneurial ventures. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, sir, for presenting the annual report for 2015-2016. Ladies and gentlemen, it is always a privilege in saying a few words about our President, Governing Council, Mr. Kamal Nath. I think nobody needs any introduction to him, but abiding by the customs of the official ceremony, I'd like to just give a brief introduction. Mr. Kamal Nath joined the Indian National Congress Party in 1968 as a youth worker and was elected to Parliament from the Chhindwara constituency for the first time in 1980. He has won the parliamentary elections 9 times from the same constituency. In his previous capacity as India's Minister of Urban Development and Parliamentary Affairs, he contributed immensely to the growth of urban infrastructure in India and ensured smooth conduct of business in both houses of Parliament. As the Minister of Road Transport and Highways from May 2009 to January 2011, Mr. Nath created a significant momentum to the development of national highways. The pace of national highway development crossed 12 kilometers a day, and work in progress of 16,000 kilometers was created. He was introduced a national permit system for goods vehicles, initiated the electronic toll collection system across the country, and introduced the Bharat Stage 4 emission norms. As Commerce and Industry Minister of India from 2004 to 2009, Mr. Kamal Nath enunciated India's first comprehensive foreign trade policy in 2004, laying out a coherent roadmap with a twin focus on exports as well as employment. He was successful in tripling India's foreign trade within the period and in engineering a 7-fold increase in FDI inflows to India. Significant strides were made in the areas of intellectual property and industrial design. His firm grasp of economic issues and consummate diplomatic skills were evident in the World Trade Organization negotiations, where he emerged as one of the chief architects of the G20 and the G33 alliances and the non-agricultural market access. At the 2005 WTO Ministerial at Hong Kong, he effectively championed the cause of developing countries. Mr. Kamal Nath was first inducted into the Union Council of Ministers in 1991. During his 4-year tenure as Minister of Environment and Forests of India, Mr. Nath made a remarkable contribution to the enunciation and development of the national policy on ecological conservation and the abatement of pollution. From 1995 to 96, Mr. Kamal Nath was also the Textiles Minister of India. Ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed a privilege and an honor to now invite Mr. Kamal Nath, President of the Governing Council, IMT Nagpur, to kindly address the graduating students with the presidential address, please.
Chief guest, Mr. Rana Kapoor, esteemed guests, honorable members of the faculty, staff, distinguished scholars, invitees, and my graduating students, I extend a very warm welcome to all of you. It is with great pleasure that I address the convocation of the Institute of Management Technology, Nagpur. For more than a decade, since its inception, IMT Nagpur has been home to some of the brightest minds and has been instrumental in shaping the next generation of business leaders. Your consistent performance, collective hard work, and the dedication of the teachers and staff continues to strengthen our vision to produce socially responsible business leaders. I would also like to welcome my friend, Mr. Rana Kapoor, founder, managing director, and CEO of US Bank, and more importantly, the man who brought responsible banking to the age-old banking sector in our country. His belief that entrepreneurship has no retirement age is more pertinent than ever in our country today. Mr. Rana Kapoor has been the founder of the bank and has brought it to its eminence of today. I've had the privilege of being witness to this from the very first day. Today is your special day. Today is about celebrating your talent, your perseverance, and most of all, today is about celebrating your debut into the corporate world as ambassadors of your alma mater. Congratulations to all of you. For 2 years, We at IMT have been your family and have seen you through the crests and troughs of your academic experience while nurturing you. So it is with pride that we see you taking your steps in the direction of a future that you want. As you prepare to spread your wings, I would like to remind you that life is full of struggle. And I'm sure my friend Rana will agree with me on that. No matter what you do, which career you decide, there is always some struggle for you to achieve success. That is probably why success is so sweet. And with each success, you progress and aspire to do more and better than before. And thus you learn to raise the bar. That is what we have tried to do here, to nurture you to raise the bar. And that is going to be one of your most important ingredients in your career ahead. Raising the bar is just one step for achieving success. What is also required is the ability to change with the times, to be nimble at the feet. Whether it is what you learn in school today or what you buy at an Apple store, in less than 5 years, it becomes outdated. And this is classic of the 21st century. In today's fast-paced and networked world, being irrelevant is not a good option. Your goal should be to be a lifelong learner. The truth is that we unconsciously continue to learn throughout our life. You don't stop learning when you leave the institute. You don't start learning in your first job, but you learn throughout your life. However, in this information age, we are being constantly bombarded with content, whether it is Facebook, tweets, Instagram. These have become accepted verbs in common parlance. There is much content available in the digital world at all times that we feel so overwhelmed. So how do we cope? You do that by learning to sift, that is to filter the signal from the noise. You learn to analyze what is being thrown at you and decipher which information is vital at that precise moment. It is no longer about what you learn in 2016, it's going to be how you learn. Your ability to filter will help you stay relevant and on top of the game. Cultivate a mindset to accept innovation and disruption. I remember when IMTs were being established, we were just realizing the scope of the internet and automation. Today, we are at the cusp of the fourth industrial revolution. Words like interoperability, virtualization, and real-time capability, modularity that we used in research labs or in classrooms till a few years ago have become commonplace in the corporate sector. There are many lessons to be learned from companies and entrepreneurs who had the foresight to tap the changes in the world and the ability to build products in line with new consumer expectations. Google, Apple, Uber, Airbnb are all examples of that. But remember that you will learn the most from companies and entrepreneurs who also failed to respond to new circumstances and fell victim to their own size. Dinosaurs, as they are called, BlackBerry, Yahoo, Nokia were household names as recently as 10 years ago. Where are they today? BlackBerry failed to see the rise of open source, and it isolated its ecosystem, couldn't keep up with the iOS and Android. Nokia was too late to understand the shift to smartphones and was too late in making significant changes in its product portfolio. Yahoo focused more on building advertising revenues, channels, and less on becoming a future-driven technology company. And all these great brand names of the past are on the wayside today. Learning how to process information then becomes an even more important skill given the challenging times we live in. Geopolitics and mediums of instant communication are affecting the way we transact in the world today. You need to learn to shift goalposts. While in the corporate world, it refers to resetting the revenue target or convincing the customer of a different proposition. In your context today, it essentially means that to be successful, you need to continuously adapt to remain on top of things. I am sure you all thought that your final exams were the toughest times. In hindsight, you will realize that this was the easy part. You are embarking on a career that will throw many googlies at you, and with each googly, you will learn and progress. I am reminded of what Frederick Douglass had once said, and that is about struggle. He had said, if there is not struggle, there is no progress. Those who profess to favor freedom and yet depreciate agitation are men who want crops without plowing up the ground. They want rain without thunder and lightning. They want the ocean without the awful roar of its many waters. This struggle may be a moral one, or it may be a physical one, or it may be both moral and physical, but it must be a struggle. Power concedes nothing without demand. It never did and will never will. I think those are great words of Frederick Douglass. Somehow, the quote seems even more relevant to our country today, where we are struggling merely to voice dissent. I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate all the parents here, the parents, the grandparents, the brothers and sisters, the family and friends. The family and friends who have supported our young graduates in their unique ways. Today is your special day. Besides these successful diplomas lies your support, lies your hard work. So my dear graduating students, let us give a big round of applause to your family and loved ones. That's a very good clap for all what they have done for you. And just like you, I have had tremendous support from my family during the course of my career. I would like to honor the memory of my late father, Shri, a man ahead of his times, the visionary who founded this institute that now has a world-class infrastructure supported by state-of-the-art technology, an institute that continues to strive to train future business leaders of our nation. As you embark on the next stage of your life, I want you to remember that you will always remain an integral part of the IMT community. Some of you will move overseas, while others will choose to stay here. In time, you will develop relationships, personal and professional, but nothing will surpass the strong bonds of friendship you have forged during your time in IMT. And as your alma mater, IMT will continue to be the wind beneath your wings. With these words, I wish you all the best for a bright future. Go forth and make your mark. Accept the struggles you will face, because there will be many, but stay committed and be patient. Continue to listen carefully, process what you receive, and adopt accordingly. And in not so distant future, each one of you will become a leader in your own rights, and that will make our hearts swell with pride. Thank you.
Thank you very much, President of the Governing Council, Mr. Kamal Nath, for a most wonderful, endearing presidential address. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my privilege to introduce our distinguished chief guest, Mr. Rana Kapoor, Managing Director and CEO of Yes Bank. He's the founder and managing director and CEO of Yes Bank, India's fifth largest private sector bank in the country. Those who know Mr. Kapoor well marvel at his ability to not just set thrice the amount of work for himself every day, but also motivate his leadership to go beyond their call of duty. This has led to the coinage of philosophy of professional entrepreneurship at Yes Bank. No wonder in just 12 years, Yes Bank has emerged as one of the safest and fastest growing private sector banks of the country. Under his leadership, Yes Bank was recently recognized as the Bank of the Year India by the Banker magazine London, part of the Financial Times Group of the United Kingdom. Rana Kapoor has received numerous awards and accolades for his exemplary contributions towards fostering entrepreneurship in India, strengthening key growth sectors, including financial services, agribusiness and tourism, amongst others, as well as promoting bilateral relations with strategic partner countries. Mr. Kapoor was recently recognized as a role model entrepreneur by the prestigious Indian Institute of Technology, Bombay, IIT Bombay, at the Entrepreneurship Summit in 2016. Under his dynamic leadership, Yes Bank has launched its practicing think tank, Yes Institute, which focuses on design, innovation, creativity, and entrepreneurship towards achieving India's socio-economic transformation. Besides being a visionary business leader and professional entrepreneur, Mr. Rana Kapoor has been a change agent, ushering positive change and development across community, society, and at the national level. Mr. Rana Kapoor has held various positions of responsibility in various organizations, including immediate past President, ASSOCHAM, India's Apex Chamber of Commerce, Honorary Consul General, Republic of Cyprus in Mumbai, Member Governor of India's Board of Trade, Council Member, World Business Council for Sustainable Development, Board Member, the Climate Group India, Member, International Leadership Council, the Climate Group, Member, Founder Circle, Brookings Institution, Member, Governing Council, University of Pennsylvania Institute for the Advanced Study of India, Deputy Chairman of Indian Banks Association. Ladies and gentlemen, I now request our chief guest, Mr. Rana Kapoor, to kindly address the students graduating at the IMT Convocation 2016 with this convocation address. Let's give him a warm round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon, everyone. Just when my turn came, the rain has become stronger and firmer, so maybe I'll have to speak up. First and foremost, Honorable Shri Kamal Nath ji, Member of Parliament, Chairman of the Board of Governors, IMT Nagpur, Director, IMT Dr. Bhattacharya, distinguished Board of Governors, distinguished faculty, esteemed guests, respected parents, grandparents, my dear graduating students, members of the media, young ladies and gentlemen. It's indeed a real pleasure for me to address this 11th convocation of IMT Nagpur, and I must first and foremost extend my heartfelt congratulations to each of the 300 graduating students. My warmest congratulations to all of you. As the Honorable President of IMT said a few minutes ago, that this is a result of a culmination of your sheer hard work and the outstanding and exceptional efforts over the last couple of years. And now you can savor this moment before preparing not just for the next big challenge, but for the opportunity that is waiting for you. I would also like to compliment the faculty and administration who have led Dr. Bhattacharya's efforts first in Ghaziabad and now for the last few years in Nagpur by producing some of the most innovative and entrepreneurial and finest young managers that you can find in the country. And most of all, what I really appreciate in the vision that Shri Kamal Nath ji highlighted, conceived by his father and championed by him for many decades now, is that technology was embedded in IMT way back in 1980 when the very first IMT was established in Ghaziabad. So I must foremost highlight that the special focus on entrepreneurship, on leadership, on innovation and creativity dovetailed, accompanied by great ethics, superb excellence, corporate and operational excellence, and naturally resulting in great thought leadership. This is not a surprise. My first visit here, but I was expecting this. Not as wonderful, but I was expecting this. And to me, this is a product of a very charismatic and a very, very dynamic leader since 1968. And I was calculating backwards, not to share his age because you can't make out. But in 1968, as you can see, he must have been just about 20 or maybe 10 years. And it is wonderful to see that the quality of this institution is about his own genetics. So I'm very, very happy and very, very touched. In fact, I have had goose flesh for the last 1.5 years since I got onto this campus. I have known Shri Kamal Nath ji for 3 decades, since 1985 to be very precise. And I've seen that it's his passion, it's his action, and his result orientation which makes him into a distinctive leader, and the Master of Ceremonies highlighted his many roles as one of the greatest leaders we have had in our polity over so many, many decades. The fact is that he has essayed some indelible movements in our political history, and he's still a very young man, and I'm sure we are going to see lots and lots of him in the future as well. Ladies and gentlemen, standing here amongst some of the brightest young minds in our country, I am indeed pleased that IMT Nagpur has emerged as an academic institute of foremost global standards, integrated with some of the best domestic practices. This was indeed the dream of Shri Mahendra Nath ji, the respected visionary and karma yogi who conceived this 3 decades ago. It's indeed the realization of this dream, spearheaded by Shri Kamal Nath ji for many years now, and therefore we must continue to ensure a seamless integration of education, research, and innovation. And I can think of an example like the Cambridge University, which amazingly has produced 80 Nobel laureates, as well as has provided the platform for over 15,000 startups, in addition to creating over 500,000 jobs over a fairly longish period of time. And to me, when I come here, it's a similar feeling. Dr. Bhattacharya spoke about the goddess Saraswati, but I must say that when we reflect the fact that both goddess Saraswati and Lakshmi ji sit on a lotus with Kamal, you know what a lotus means in our Indian language. So that to me is an image that I wanted to share with you. Young ladies and gentlemen, today I perceive an atmosphere of extreme positive energy, of optimism in this campus, with a heightened paradigm, evoking, in my judgment, a sense of deja vu. I also remember my days graduating from Shri College in Delhi University, and a couple of years later, I did my MBA from Rutgers University in US in 1979, 1980, so a very long time ago. But the point is, in both these institutions, the biggest takeaway for me was the importance of unwavering pursuit of knowledge and learning forever. One that extends beyond structured courses and becomes an integral part of every day in your life and in being socially responsible. This focus on imbibing knowledge was later instrumental in my having the divine opportunity of setting up a banking institution in a tough environment in our country. And I must say that it is indeed the perpetuation of knowledge which has been a very, very critical differentiator in the evolution of our still very young bank called Yes Bank. Today, the few points I want to make are on entrepreneurship, because that's really where I believe the opportunity is. That is where I believe the future lies. And I think the president of your institute has commented on that abundantly by giving some excellent analogies about how creative institutions versus some of the dinosaurs, how they go forward and some others fade away. Because this is a little anecdotal, I have 3 highlight points. The first one is, a person like me, you know, how did I become an entrepreneur? And I go back to college days, because the professional journey for me too also started in college, quite like you in a management institution. And I think the first part of my experience is that there are 3 things I will share with you in my first point, that grasping a situation is extremely important. Then, as you step out into business or into executive positions in the corporate world, as you get opportunity, decision making is absolutely vital. And I can tell you why. Even if you make the wrong decisions, right or wrong, decisions should be made. This is a very important lesson I want to share with you. And sometimes, you know, decisions do go wrong. And therefore, the third attribute, which I believe is extremely important, is problem solving. Because you must solve the problem and not let a bad decision, you know, perpetuate, but rather take the bull by the horns and try to solve that. So grasping, decision making, and problem solving, these are traits, because if you take them from here today and remind yourself once in a while, you know, tuck them somewhere in the back of your mind that I must do, and there are many other qualities. All I can tell you is, as a person who's driven by getting things done, this small, you know, mantra really helps. 2, because we visualize you stepping into the corporate world as entrepreneurs or as professional executives, it's very important to please cross-fertilize your knowledge. Very often we choose to stick to just one thing, right? But you must use the opportunity to understand how segments, how geographies, you know, in our country work, because the initial and practical learning, when you get onto the real working platform, to understand segmentation of the country, industry segmentation, market segmentation, geographic segmentation, client segmentation, because India's management tactics, business tactics are going through a metamorphosis, and therefore cross-fertilization, I'm calling it cross-fertilization, but there's a lot more management tactic to all this. I've been a little fortunate because I look at the bank, and I've been in banking 36 years, because a bank is a basket as well as a barometer of the economy. So if you treat your jobs like that and say, listen, I'm playing a role for my family, my personal, my family development, but also national development, you'll find a lot more fulfillment. And I think this is like a second way of, you know, really approaching your careers basis at least my learnings, you know. The third related issue is that, you know, some of you will descend into entrepreneurship immediately, right? And some will go into the corporate world. Now, what is the difference? In the corporate world, yes, there are systems, there are processes, there are procedures, and you must say it's regimented. But I can tell you that when I worked in a global organization, my first job, which lasted, 16 years, was with Bank of America. I chose, I don't know how, but I chose in what I now call professional entrepreneurship. In classical sense, in a conventional way, is called entrepreneurship. So please find opportunities in your jobs, in corporate careers, to give birth to new products, to new business activities, to new ideas in your position. So don't just get stuck. Think out of the box, as they say, and sometimes even beyond the box, as I'm sure many of you are capable of doing. And to me, this sort of entrepreneurship, at the early stages of your career life cycle, becomes pretty much the final frontier to explore creativity at a later date and to champion your dream in course of time. I think the second highlight point I want to share with you is more about the future. And I think the President highlighted so many opportunities which are awaiting in this world, this ever-changing world. But as you graduate into a new India which is again experiencing the rise of an entrepreneurial economy, you just have to see the number of startups which are at least reported in NASSCOM website, because that is a fairly authentic source of information, and hundreds of and thousands which are not part of NASSCOM, but you will get an understanding the way there are, a lot of young people, and I think this magazine very aptly summarizes that people are leaping beyond horizon. And the back page, I think, is equally important because it says, arise, aspire, and achieve. To me, this is a very, very good gift, at least for me. Thank you, sir. But to come to the main point, that the opportunities are colossal, they're fantastic, and to me, that India's economy, which is in this traumatized global world, as you know, there are very, very few beacons, and India somehow is still considered to be, the land of opportunity, and there is a certain confidence and there is a certain conviction in our youth, reflected naturally in the demographics, reflected in your participation here, so that the land of 1 billion ideas now, at least to me, is now a land of 1 billion opportunities. It is the energy and the enterprise of youngsters like you who will drive India's economic transformation. Young men and ladies like you, the new breed of managers, are no longer job seekers. We need to be more job creators, and to me, this is the opportunity. I also want to share something which is very nascent in our own ecosystem, is that we have conceived an in-house term called DICE. And DICE, to me, is extremely applicable in this environment at IMT, because in an entrepreneurial economy today, we have to think of design, innovation, and creativity-led entrepreneurship. So this is summarized as DICE. Try to remember this smaller, even smaller mantra, because to me, this can be an orbit-changing intervention in your careers if you start thinking, because this is about value addition in life, so that we just don't do the regular things and we really go for the creative economy. China has transitioned into that more recently. America has been doing it through thick and thin for the last 30, 40 years. And I think India's time has come to get into this DICE economy. This is really where the future really lies, at least in my opinion. And by DICE, I don't mean just design. It's not just design thinking for business innovation. It's how businesses think, innovate, and most of all, execute. Typically, as we know, entrepreneurs tend to be guided by the left brain. The left-hand side of the brain is considered to be the more meticulous part of the brain, more logical and more rational. However, what we are seeing is a new trend where entrepreneurial decisions are being driven by more the right brain thinking, which is the power of creativity which is being unleashed. So therefore, ladies and gentlemen, please remember that there is a whole new mind, not just a mindset, but a whole new mind that you need to go out with into the marketplace. And please try to think, the left mind plus the right mind and the whole new mind as a concept as you prepare for your careers. I want to share an experience, very recent, just about 3 Sundays ago. Last month, I was at IIT Bombay for their annual entrepreneurship summit. And I must say that quite like what I'm feeling here, that students were highly motivated. The ideas, and I heard many of them, I sat through a lot of presentations, the clarity of ideas and the laser focus on actualization of the ideas, as well as with the faculty mentoring them, to me was a very, very good experience. And it's the first time in 24 years I went to IIT Bombay. First time I've come here, and I can sense the same, genetic play here as well. Young ladies and gentlemen, this is not very different from what happened in the Silicon Valley about 30, 40 years ago. And you can see that even in a traumatized global economy, that Silicon Valley is a shining star. I think India, the campuses like this, IMT Nagpur, in its own way is a hub of future Silicon Valley. And I think these are the sorts of thoughts and positive ideas with which you should proceed in the marketplace. As we all know that India's youth, represented by you, bright young minds, in this convocation hall today, are looking to build enterprises, create jobs, which will redefine the way business is done in our country. In our assessment, we had done a report on entrepreneurship recently that while the last 70 years have created 60 or 70 maybe billionaires in India, that literally the next 10 years, if not the next 5 years, there's also a view that it could happen in the next 5 years, that at least 50 to 75 billionaires should be created in our country. And naturally, many, many, many more millionaires in the process. However, what is even more important is that they will produce, hopefully, millions of jobs and employment opportunities in e-commerce, in financial services, which is my business, in technology-driven enterprises, which will radically change the way we work today. And I think Shri Kamalnath ji highlighted some of the skill sets required to really make a success in the future. The third point for me is the overall message to budding entrepreneurs that this animal spirit business that we talk about is not restricted only to established business houses, the large conglomerates. To me, the positive energy required to build that spirit, to build the spirit of winning, is very important as you move on from the campus into real work life. And I think it's very important that this be accompanied by shared determination, by shared perseverance, with a focus, no matter how long it takes. And this, to me, is a very important, because there is no expiry date as such to entrepreneurship. I remember, going a couple of times, but the first time I went to Epcot Center, which is one of my favorite places in Disney World in Orlando, the moment I entered there with my wife and 3 daughters, there was a saying there, if you can dream it, you can do it. I promise you that in my own, fairly persistent way, as a caring parent, I hope. I've been trying to, in a way, embed this in my 3 daughters. And I'm very happy after a good educational background. All 3 of them are struggling. I promise you, struggling. But all 3 girls are aspiring to be women entrepreneurs. I'm very, very happy. I don't tell them that, but the academic background, you know, really, you know, and to me, this is my most important report card. And I'll be very happy that, you know, one day after the struggle is over, but there is no end to struggle, as was said earlier, that they must experience entrepreneurship. Today, this, if you can dream it, I can do it. In a management parlance, in a management, I've tried to like make it simpler, that any task, any assignment, any role, any job, any career you pursue, try to take a simple statement like visualize what you're doing. Try to visualize. I think visualization really, really helps. The next thing is naturally to convert that visual into a strategy. And then the most important thing is, because vision and strategy are easier, is how to really actualize. How to actualize. And to me, actualization needs very, very careful thinking on methodology. So yes, vision, important, strategy, equally important, but you know, the 90% factor is really actualization, which is really where the real proof of the pudding is. And if you make a certain graph in your life that, you know, I'm going to spend so much time in my career on the execution, on the actualization process, believe you me, it really helps. I've done this when I was a paid executive for almost 18 years with Bank of America and ANZ. And then, you know, about 18 years ago in 1998, you know, I took my first baby step to become an entrepreneur in a minority capacity. And then, you know, with some cosmic forces, got the opportunity and, you know, with guidance and help from friends like Shri Kamalnathji and motivation and encouragement to set up a bank. So it can happen. You know, I was a paying guest in 1980. I'm very proud of it. You know, I came to build a career and I was telling my people in Nagpur branch earlier this morning, because I landed fairly early, so spent a couple of hours in the Nagpur branch, that my maximum learning has been in the last year, calendar year 2015, and I'm turning 60 next year. And I can tell you, in this maximum learning curve, you know, the digitization of the economy and the role of banks, you know, mobility, the convergence, the IoT example that was given, you know, I tell you, there is no end to learning. Every day, to me, because I don't have a boss, you know, my biggest, you know, real driver and motivation is coming from constant learning, from accreting knowledge every day and practicing that knowledge. Practice karna bahut zaruri hai. Zor lagao, mehnat karo, but, you know, put that to practice. You know, I believe converting that into kinetic energy, positive energy, is extremely important. And I, you know, like Kamalji recalled his late father, I also today recall my late father. I lost him when I was just about 25. And one thing I'll tell you, and this is to me a very Hanumanian formula, if you have to overcome Himalayan tasks, you need a Hanumanian formula. And the formula is very simple. 14,000 of my colleagues in Yes Bank practice this formula. Harder you work, the luckier you get. In India, young ladies and gentlemen, no matter, you know, success will come to you. You will have some exceptional, extraordinary forces, you know, parents, grandparents' prayers. But please remember, the 98% factor is hard work, because the hard work makes you luckier. And then Bajrang Bali will come along with you to help you to unleash your dreams, to actualize your own ideas. And I share this practically every day on some platform or the other, mostly internally with my 14,000 plus colleagues at Yes Bank. And by the way, to bring my mother into context as well, because my mother doesn't have now the capacity to watch and observe my bank's share price in CNBC anymore. But the only way, you know, once in a while she wants to judge my, you know, career progression, my career successes, And she's very intelligent, even at the age of 90, as the first woman BA from Amritsar in 1947. She graduated the same year she got married. And she asked me that, Rana, how many people have joined in the last 1 month? How many people have joined in the last 1 year? For her, it's a measurement of success. So it's a very important way to see how parents who care for you are measuring your success. It's not the stock price and CNBC ticker, but it's how many jobs we are creating. So to me, my mother, even at her very old age, very, very old age of 90 now, she is still tracking my career progress through one data analytic, which is number of people that, are being hired in my bank. And this is true, huh? This is not a concocted story. I promise you it's very, very true. Well, we have to conclude. And one more lesson, practical lesson. I find that we have the most brilliant people, like most of you here, all of you here, and there are terms like laser focus. I use it all the time. But, in this whole game of grasping, decision-making, problem-solving, right, one other management parlance that at least I take credit for creating beyond laser focus is, and I'll share it with you, think about it for just a few seconds, focus on focusing. Because Indians, because we're so bright, we're so intellectually powerful, that when it comes to execution, we spend a lot of time debating and discussing. So to me, getting into that 90 to 98% actualization equation in real life, the practical equation in real life, needs this focus and focusing. This really helps. Believe you me, these 3 or 4 things can make a very big difference in the acceleration of your professional careers, because somehow has worked for me. A little late in life, I wish I'd become an entrepreneur at the age of 21. It happened to me when I was almost like 37, 38, I finally, to conclude, I've gone on beyond my time, that there'll be, all kinds of, speed breakers, struggle, endless struggle, as the President said a little while ago, but 2 or 3 small things. Please follow and chase your dreams. Don't give or compromise on your dreams in the midst of challenges or any hurdle. Even if there are speed breakers, break the speed breakers, but move on. Very important. Something very basic, the second point, really be a team player. Believe in your colleagues, right? And to me, they are the ones who will help you, because to me, leadership naturally means working very, very well with colleagues, called teamwork. And this is what is very vital, to carry them along with you for real success. Simple point, but just a reiteration. Nothing extraordinary, but very important to practice it. And then, final is that please pursue opportunity in adversity. It is the bestest time in adversity. When everything is hunky-dory, when everything is linear, it's not a differentiator. But please pursue opportunity in adversity. In fact, I go a step further. I would say seize the opportunity every day. And there's a Latin phrase for this, carpe diem, right? Carpe diem, seize the opportunity, but to add to that, every day. Please seize it every day. Don't say once a year is enough. And then I can tell you, success will chase you. You don't have to chase success. Success will chase you with these small 2 or 3, issues in life. Once again, I would like to thank the Honorable Shri Kamal Nath ji, President, Board of Governors, IMT Nagpur, for inviting me, Director Dr. Bhattacharya, for making me a part of this very significant moment in your life cycle. I wish all of you, the graduates, and repeat what Shri Kamal Nath ji said, that the best for all of you for all times to come. And I do hope many of you really become entrepreneurs. And finally, be bold, go for gold. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, distinguished chief guest, for a most motivating, thought-provoking, and dynamic convocation address. Let's give him a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. I now have the privilege in requesting Mr. Rana Kapoor to kindly award medals to the first and the second rank holders graduating from the programs held at IMT Nagpur. PGDM All Streams 2014-2016, the gold medal for the highest CGPA across all streams of PGDM, Tanu Ahuja. The silver medal for the highest CGPA across all streams of PGDM, Nishant Raghuvanshi. The gold medal for PGDM 2014-2016 goes to Rakesh Kumar Chaudhary. The silver medal goes to Sivashish Agnihotri, who's not here. PGDM Finance 2014-2016, the gold medal, ladies and gentlemen, goes to Tanu Ahuja. The silver medal goes to Nishant Raghuvanshi. PGDM Marketing 2014-2016. The gold medal, ladies and gentlemen, goes to Himanshu Gupta. And the silver medal goes to Nidhi Jha. Based on the all-round performance in curricular and extracurricular activities, the gold medal for the best graduating student of the batch of 2014-2016 goes to Himanshu Gupta. Thank you very much, Chief Guest. May I now request Dr. Subhajit Bhattacharya, Director of IMT Nagpur, to kindly administer the management oath to all the students of the graduating batch, please.
Please rise. Please repeat after me. Post I say quote until I say unquote. Quote, I, your name, having qualified for the postgraduate diploma in management, do solemnly take an oath that to the best of my ability, knowledge and judgment, I will duly and sincerely bring my organization to excellence with utmost satisfaction to all stakeholders, utilize all resources placed at my disposal to achieve sustainable development in accordance with the rule of law, uphold principles of business ethics, and practice tenets of good governance. May you prove worthy of being a true IMTian. Sit down.
All the students who have pursued the postgraduate diploma in management in various streams for IMT Nagpur will now rise to receive their diplomas. I'd like to request the chairperson, PGDM program, Professor Shayan Banerjee, to kindly usher in the PGDM students, please. I now request Associate Dean Academics, Professor Rajnandan Patnaik, to please come up on stage and present the students to the director to admitting them to the postgraduate diploma in management, please. And I request Dr. Shubhajit Bhattacharya, director, to kindly admit the graduating students, please.
Sir, I present to you the students of the PGDM programs whose name appear in the list and who have been examined and found qualified for the postgraduate diploma in management, to which I pray that they be admitted.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the President and the Governing Council, I admit you to the postgraduate diploma in management, and I charge you that ever in life and conversation you show yourself worthy of the same.
May I now request Mr. Kamal Nath, the President of the Governing Council of IMT Nagpur, to kindly award the diplomas to the students of the graduating batch, please. I'm now announcing the names of the students, PGDM General. Akash Joshi, Abha Avinash Kulkarni, Abhishek Parekh, Aditi Tandon, Akshay Agrawal, Akshay Ramesh Salunke, Akshay Tople, Amit Ranjan, Amulya Anoj, Anchit Jain, Ankur Rohatgi, Anshuman Chauhan, Anuj Kailash Mishra, Apurv Chaurasya, Archana Sinha, Ashima Agarwal, Anuj Gupta, Ashwin Tiwari. Avilasha Singha, Avni Agarwal, Bakul Malik, Divyan Kaur, Gaurav Mukim, Goldie Goel. Gurusha Godwani, Harshit Mathur, Hassan Armughan, Himanshu Mishra, Hitesh Patidar, Hitesh Sharda, Ritik Maheshwari, Hitesh Wahi. Ipshita Sinha, Jay Dhonde, Jatin Sethi, Juhi Bandopadhyay, Kanika Hirani, Karishma Khurana. Kartikeya, Kavita R, Kiran Naganagaud Amli, Krishna Kanak Sin Mahida, Kritagya Shah, Kunal Roy, Kush Somani, Lavnish Verma. Mani Maheshwari, Manly Rajan, Manu Yadav, Mayur Gupta, Mithila Yal, Mohit Karode. Neha Suman, Nikhil Kaushik, Naima Haq, Nilesh Thakur, Nitika Kedia. Pankhuri Kasera, Pujita Punaganti, Pradeep Murugesan, Pragna Kunda, Prakash Chandrasekhar, Pratik Shrimal, Prem Maheshwari, Priyanka Jand, Pulkit Agarwal, Rachna Verma. Rakesh Kumar Chaudhary, Rashi Sharan, Rohit Sonakia, Ruchi Negi, Dhaval Kumar Rupapara, Rupesh Rakesh Pandey, Samarjit Jaiprakash, Sampriti Datta, Sankalp Shivakumar Jangam, Saurabh Das, Seshank Mavalapalli, Shalini Joshi, Shashank Rajesh Pathak. Shekhar Kumar, Shivam Tripathi, Shivika Sagar, Siddharth Goel, Somya Mishra, Shubham Aneja, Suganta Bhatla, Sumit Arun Panase. Surabhi Chaudhary, Swapnil Shriram Duff, T. Jagan, Tanmay Chatterjee, Tanya Dhingra, Tanya Verma. U. Bharadwaj, Udit Birpalia, Vandita Agarwal, Vikas Jain. Yogesh Baradia, Ankit Rawat. The PGDM Finance, Aarti Hassani, Abhishek Singh, Akshay Bhasin, Anand Kumar Tiwari, Anisha Jain, Arvind Dadich, Atul Kumar, Bushra Zaidi, Chandra Pratap, Chirag Agarwal. Davda Janmang, Divya Bhatia, Dikshita Vijayvargi, Drishya Krishnan, Ghazal Gupta, Hemant Gupta. Ishana Santhalia, Jabin Fatima Siddiqui, Kamlendra Kumar Singh, Ketki Chaturvedi, Mahina Dangi, Malvika B, Manpreet Singh Arora, Mehak Arora, Milind Vesh, Monish Bhatia, Nachiket Vijay Bhagdikar. Nancy Mehrotra, Nikhil Ehlawat, Nikhil Dhankar, Nishant Agarwal, Nishant Raghuvanshi, Pappu Karthik Shri Vishwanath, Parul Sharma, Piyush Thubrikar. Prerna Gaba, Pranoy De, Rahul Parate, Rasika Kiran Dhule, Rebanta Saha, Ripakshi Arora, Rishabh Khemka, Rishabh Agarwal, Ronak Mundra, Sagar Asati, Sai Krishna Chaitanya, Lakam Raju, Sayantan De, Shalini Jha, Shashank Gupta. Shraboni Ghosh, Shreya Bhattacharya, Suchi Mehta, Shruti Uday Gupte, Smriti Agarwal, Shupriya. Tamanna, Tanu Ahuja, Uchit Madhok, Vaibhav Gupta, Varinder Singh Bhullar, Vikrant Vinod Gupta, Wasim Israr Sheikh, Dushyant Singh, Himangshu Daura. PGDM Marketing. Akanksha Jamwal, Akanksha Wadhwani, Asta Gupta, Abdul Kader, Abhilash Singh, Abhirup Palit, Aditi Bhattacharya, Aditi Mudgal. Akanksha Tripathi, Akshat Agarwal, Akshay Devani, Akshay Sanjay Jogdand, Amandeep Singh, Aniket Arvind Bhutte, Aniket Roy, Ankit Kumar, Ankita Saikia. Anup Rajiv Chand Shetty, Arnab Sinha, Anshul Chokhani, Anthony Davis, Apurva Jhunjhunwala. Arunab Chandra, Ayush Khandelwal, B. Vijay Rahul, Charvi Goel, Dipangshu Bansal. Deval B. Joshi, Dhanjit Pathak, Divyakant Gupta, Garima Parak, Gaurav Agarwal, Gaurav Garewal, Gaurav Vij, Gunjan Shukla. Harshit Gupta, Hemant De, Himanshi Tiwari, Himangshu Gupta, Jai Krishna S. Jasmine Kaur Arora, Jaiprakash Gaud, Karan Sethi, Khyati Jha, Kushal Prakash, Madhem Yashwant, Madhavi Leela, Manish Kumar Singh, Mayank Sharma. Mohammad Shahrukh Rahim, Naman Sethi, Neha Verma, Nidhi Jha, Nikhil Singh, Nikita Tiwari. Nikunj Gulati, Oindrala Ghosh, Parijat Vikram Singh, Parul Rawat, Pooja Gupta, Pooja Mangal, Pragya Nigam, Pritam Pandey, Priyanka B. Pulkit Mittal, Rachit Garg, Raghav Grover, Raj Shekhar, Rashi Srivastav. Ritish Kumar Sadaul, Rohan Anurup Chandra, Rupesh Gupta, Rushi D. Deshmukh, Rushikesh Ashtikar. this one in his hand. Sakshi Arora, Samat Srivastav, Sandeep Kumar Agarwala, Satyabrata Sharma, Shamik Devnath, Shriyak Bhardwaj, Sirisha Adiraju, Sunil Kumar Mahato, Sushant Kao. Sushant Kaur, Shushruth Sanjeev Ratnaparkhi, Swati Jain, Tanu Sharma, Tejas Vazalwar, Tithanka Banerjee, Tushar Singla. Udayan Bhattacharjee, Unita Gupta, Vaibhav Jain, Vakabala Murli Krishna, Vedant Madhav, Vishwam Bhattacharjee, Yash Nathani. Chinmay Atre, Arafat Khan, Pratul Mahajan, Sumit Gupta, Ruhi Prashant Kulkarni, Pranav Sharma, Akshay Agarwal, Himangshu Aditya, Mahesh Yadav, and Pallav Sharma. Thank you very much indeed. May I now request Mr. Kamal Nath to formally announce the closing of the convocation.
I declare the convocation closed.
Ladies and gentlemen, I now request all of us to kindly rise for the national anthem, and I request the student volunteers to come on stage to render the national anthem, please.
जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंग विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा तब शुभ नामे जागे, तब शुभ आशीष मांगे, गाहे तब जय गाथा। जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे, भारत भाग्य विधाता। जय हे, जय हे, जय हे, जय 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 हे।
Kindly remain standing till the convocation procession leaves the pandal, please. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly keep the aisle passage free, please. And kindly wait for the next announcement. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your patience in witnessing this wonderful ceremony. On behalf of the IMT family, I now would like to extend a warm invitation to all the invitees for high tea, which has been changed, the venue. For faculty, staff, and guests, it will be at the faculty mess, and for students and parents, it will be in the student mess. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us for this wonderful convocation ceremony. We hope you've enjoyed your afternoon. Thank you very much.